Hello, I'm Brandon Mably from the Kaffe Fassett studio. We're here at the Birmingham NEC. We've been invited to come along to show a range of our garments. Featured one in my book Knitting Colour, came out earlier this spring, distributed through GMC, and also we have a range of garments from Kaffe Fassett's latest book, Kaffe Knits Again, which is absolutely gorgeous, photographed at Charlton House. I'm going to show you a couple of the garments and give you a little bit of how they came about. One of the most common questions I get asked is where we get inspiration from, because our world is about working with colour and lots of colour. That can be quite intimidating for some people. So first off here, this is one of the most easiest of garments because it's a 2-colour row pattern inspired by Alaska, where you see you have the water scenes in the background, and here you have the mountain ranges. You're carrying one colour along the back, so it's just working with 2 colours, very straightforward, but with the overall pattern and colour, it just has a very nice calming palette, and I'm pleased to say it's been quite popular. Next I'd like to show you a design which is done with the Rowan summer tweed yarn, which is a silk and wool cotton mix. And it's inspired by the fall colours in America, the fall leaves. America was one of the most difficult challenges for me to choose because there's so much inspiration and diversity there. But I was thinking, well, what is phenomenally fantastic with the colour range is the fall leaves. And so here I just took a design from an American basket weave and just did this sort of zigzag pattern. What brings the whole thing alive for me is this shade of red. Take this shade of red away and the whole thing gets a little bit muted. Put in the red and it just adds a bit of warmth and lifts up the whole thing. To show a cross-section of the travels, this one is inspired by Vietnam and the rice fields in Vietnam. Just taking the Scottish tweed Rowan yarns and working with a very muted palette, and I think I'm really quite pleased with the way it's turned out. Unpredictable stripes, bands. In some ways it has an animal kind of feel, but I think this could look quite smart under a blazer. This one was inspired by these stop signs, believe it or not, in America. Now in America you have all these stop signs which are red and white, and I looked at them and I thought, you know what, that just calls out to me to be put into a garment. So I did this graphic garment and then outlined each of the white with a soft icy blue against these hot orange reds. And then the cover of the book is this garment here, and that was inspired by Uluru, formerly known as Ayers Rock in Australia. A lot of you would have seen Ayers Rock because of the hot colours at sunset. Well, it actually is not just hot. There's lots of shades of greens and maroons and burgundies in there, and I just wanted to play with it, working with this sort of wide rectangle shape. And this is fantastic for those that are petite who also have a little bit more to accommodate, and it hangs very nicely. Though here I'm just showing it in a sort of a big scale spectrum, so you can get to see all the colour work I've tried to incorporate. England's known for its shades of greys, so I did a stole in the book and 2 pillows, taking stone wall as an inspiration and playing with lots of shades of greys. But we're also known very well for our royal family, and I'm a royalist and very proud of them. So here, my homage to the royal family, and also an element of punk coming in there. I did a crown sweater, which also made up as a cushion. Then here we're also featuring some of the garments from Kaffe's latest book, Kaffe Knits Again, which was released a week ago. And here we've got some of the garments featured in the book. The book was photographed in Charlton House, which is down in Lewes, southeast England. For those who aren't familiar with Charlton House, it's where Vanessa Bell, Duncan Grant, the Bloomsbury set painted their interiors against such textures like this. So it was the ideal setting to be able to photograph his garments in these. There's the man himself with his colour work, but it was an ideal place to photograph some of these garments. So here we have the house's vest, which some of you might be familiar with. Kaffe's updated the colours in his book. What I'm going to be able to do, what I would like to do now is show you the technique that we use. As you can see in this garment, the house's vest, you've got a section where the dark sections here incorporate a ferrule technique, whereas here we have a yellow, which we're not using over here. So we're going to use what's called an intarsia technique. You don't want to carry the colour over here, so you leave it hanging, and for when you come back on the next row, it'll be there for you to pick up. I'm going to show you that technique now. So this is a scarf that I'm making, just playing with a multitude of yarns, Scottish tweed yarns. What I'm really enjoying about this is just the play-off of colours, thrown in kit colours like these oranges that just had a bit of warmth, and duck egg blues. What I'd like to do is show you the technique of how I go about doing this, using both the techniques that we use, intarsia and ferrule. One of the biggest points that I've tried to get across through my workshops is working with manageable lengths of yarn, and that allows you to put in the colours wherever you want to, however you want to, without having to manage. Sometimes we have about 12 colours across the row. Now imagine if those are attached to your balls. You'd have to be a professional dog walker to be able to cope with those, or sign up to the insane asylum. Okay, so once you learn this technique, get that down pat and you're flying. All the instructions are incorporated into the book, so if you don't understand through the interview, have a look in the book and you'll be flying. So here I've put in the new colour. On my second stitch, I put the needle into the stitch, I take the old colour that I was working with and the tail ends, and I pull the two yarns up in between the two needles. For my stitches that I'm already knitting, pull the tail ends back down, pull through, the second stitch holds it down, and there you can see that the yarn gets secured. So here I've put in the new colour that I want to attach. Second stitch, I put my needle into the stitch, I take the tail ends that I was knitting with and the old colour, and I pull them up in between the two needles, form the stitch, pull the tail ends back down so they line over the stitch. As I pull my stitch through, I just carry on knitting as if I would ordinarily, and you see they catch the tail ends down at the back. If I keep on doing this, as if I was, and I wanted to use the green further along the row, I could swap the yarns around, pick up the green, and that would be what's called ferrule. But I'm deciding that I don't want to do any more of this green, so I'm going to leave that attached, just hanging there, so when I come back on the next row, it's going to be there for me to pick up. I don't have any holes, and I've got a nice tidy back because I've knitted in my ends as I'm going along. One of the most important things that you must also do is stand back from your work. Pin it up, pin it on the back of a cushion, on the couch, on the back of your husband as you're walking across the room, whatever suits you, just so as you can observe and look at what you're doing. Too often people just knit, and then until it's finished, they don't get the chance to enjoy it. Enjoy what you're doing. It's just the most life enhancing thing, and all people that work with their hands are good people. If any of you want to pick up on the promotions or events that Kaffe and I are doing, then go to kaffefassett.com or brandonmably.com. We're frequently doing workshops around the country and abroad. Our calendar runs into 2010, so catch up with us wherever we can, and do say hello.